Valero Energy declared California too expensive to keep operating and paid $1 billion to prove it. No machinery purchases, no facility improvements, no strategic investments, pure exit costs, penalties, write-downs, contract breaks, and closure expenses. A corporation running successfully for 25 years decided billion-dollar losses beat staying operational. Their Benicia facility converts 170,000 barrels daily, about 8% of California's refining capacity. Valero scheduled April 2026 initially, then jumped to January 2026. They're racing toward shutdown. Nobody wanted ownership when offered. A functional refinery, operational for 8 decades, found zero purchase interest. The chief executive, Lane Riggs, explained the situation during an investor update. He characterized California's rules as the toughest and most challenging across all of North America. Valero runs facilities in Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Quebec, Wales, and several other places. They handle regulations in every location, but California is unique as the territory they're spending $1 billion to flee. The data reveals everything. During October 2024, officials slapped Valero with $82 million in penalties for problems at the Benicia location. The Bay Area Air Quality Management District labeled it their biggest punishment ever handed down. The infractions consisted of dangerous chemical discharges and emission limit breaches. Valero paid the entire sum and agreed to extra oversight and machinery improvements that would require millions additionally. The low-carbon fuel requirement creates enormous compliance expenses that don't exist elsewhere. Refiners purchase carbon offsets tied to their gasoline and diesel output. These offsets trade in a marketplace where values swing unpredictably. Today, you're spending $50 per metric ton of carbon. Tomorrow, it jumps to $150 per metric ton. Valero figured their low-carbon fuel requirement compliance expenses at more than $200 million each year just for Benicia. Next arrived the emissions trading scheme. Refineries bid for pollution permits at 3-month sales events. Valero paid roughly $120 million annually on these permits for Benicia by itself. The state continuously decreases available permits, pushing values upward each quarter. What required $10 million in 2015 now demands $40 million for identical emissions. The fresh gasoline storage requirement tipped them beyond tolerance. Assembly Bill 21 demands refineries keep minimum fuel reserve amounts determined by state officials. Valero figured they'd require construction of fresh storage containers costing $300 million, alongside carrying an extra $200 million in stock expenses. The legislation cleared in October. Valero declared the shutdown 48 hours afterward. Money records show the complete magnitude of the catastrophe. Valero absorbed a $600 million property value reduction on the refinery. They're allocating $250 million toward worker separation packages and agreement cancellations. Cleanup expenses are calculated at $150 million. Court and management shutdown costs contribute another $100 million. Multiple other departure expenses push the sum to roughly $1 billion. The organization attempted to succeed. Internal records demonstrate Valero put $800 million into California rule following between 2015 and 2024. They added vapor collection systems, improved emission management equipment, swapped storage vessels, and updated tracking machinery. They brought in advisors, attorneys, and compliance experts. They joined every state initiative and test program. Nothing worked. The employment consequences destroy the regional economy. 400 direct workers lose employment. Another 1,200 temporary jobs vanish. Benicia loses $10 million in yearly tax income, roughly 10% of their budget. Nearby businesses, depending on refinery staff, estimate damages of $25 million annually. The financial waves touch every part of Solano County. Valero's departure drops California to merely 7 big refineries. During 1991, the state held 43. The quick concentration means each surviving plant grows critically vital. When one refinery experiences service difficulties or surprise halts, fuel values jump instantly because there's zero extra ability to offset. The Benicia plant generates roughly 145,000 barrels of gasoline and diesel each day. That's around 6 million gallons of fuel that must arrive from elsewhere now. California's unique fuel mixture demands mean substitute supplies must ship from Asia or the Middle East. Transit requires no less than 3 weeks, presuming zero problems. The hauling expenses by themselves increase 15 to 20 cents each gallon. Industry experts forecast quick value effects. Andy Lipau of Lipau Oil Associates predicts a 15-cent jump within 30 days of shutdown. UC Davis financial scholars expect values climbing $1.21 by August 2026. Some authorities anticipate even bigger surges if different refineries face troubles. California already spends $1.50 extra per gallon versus the country's typical cost. That difference will grow substantially. Valero's exit indicates a widespread problem for California refining. Chevron is reconsidering its El Segundo refinery functions. Marathon is weighing strategic choices for its Martinez operation. PBF Energy openly declared they're watching the rule situation before making extended promises. Every refinery manager observes Valero destroy $1 billion to depart and questions if they're following. The substitute fuel must satisfy California's particular required specifications. Standard gasoline from Texas or Louisiana won't function. Only specialized plants in South Korea, India, and Singapore can manufacture California's required mixture. These refineries demand extra payments because they understand California lacks options. Hauling expenses, protection, and money conversion charges create another expense layer. Storage turns into a vital choke point. California's fuel stations were built for continuous flows from nearby refineries, not huge deliveries showing up every 3 weeks. Harbors lack sufficient container room for brought-in fuel amounts. Creating fresh storage requires years of approval and hundreds of millions in funding. Nobody desires to spend that cash in a territory where refineries are disappearing. Train and truck systems can't manage the raised delivery weight. Shifting fuel from harbors to interior stations demands thousands of extra truck journeys every day. Operator shortages already trouble the sector. Trucking firms want higher payments for fuel moving because of protection expenses and rule following. Every phase in the delivery system creates expenses that buyers finally cover. Cleanup at Benicia will require multiple decades. Ground pollution reaches down 40 feet in certain zones. Water treatment equipment must function for no less than 30 years. Valero stays responsible for cleanup expenses even following shutdown. The organization reserved $150 million, but acknowledges real expenses might surpass $500 million across time. The trained employees can't simply discover similar positions. Refinery managers, technical engineers, and service experts possess specialized abilities that don't move to different sectors. Many will exit California for refinery positions in Texas or Louisiana. The talent loss additionally damages California's power foundation. Teaching substitute employees requires years, presuming anyone desires those positions. Nearby vendors lose their biggest client immediately. Organizations delivering industrial gases, processing aids, chemicals, and unique services relied on Valero for existence. Many will shut or move. The industrial network that backed California refining for years is breaking down. Reconstructing it would demand years and billions in spending. Valero's billion-dollar departure charge transmits a definite signal to every enterprise observing. A successful organization functioning for 25 years determined that a 10-figure damage was better than ongoing functions. They didn't shut because of missing demand. California burns 40 million gallons of gasoline each day. They didn't shut because of machine troubles. The refinery works flawlessly. They shut because the rule weight turned mathematically unworkable. The January 2026 shutdown date approaches quickly. Workers are currently departing for different positions. Service has moved to lowest safe amounts. Raw oil shipments are decreasing. Storage vessels are getting drained. The industrial site that processed oil for 8 decades will turn into a billion-dollar empty zone. California confronts a basic math challenge. Need stays at 40 million gallons every day. Availability falls by 6 million gallons every day when Benicia shuts. Phillips 66's Wilmington refinery shuts this month, eliminating another 8% of ability. 2 refineries delivering 17% of California's fuel disappear within 30 days. The surviving refineries can't raise output enough to balance. Imports can't show up quickly enough to stop shortfalls. Values must climb to eliminate demand or shortfalls will happen. Valero's $1 billion charge to leave California signifies the biggest willing departure expense in oil history. No organization has ever spent more to desert working, successful foundation. The choice demanded board permission, investor alert, and a document with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Leaders determined that remaining would require even more than departing. When a $1 billion damage turns into the top choice, something has gone basically incorrect with the business setting.